Hello, welcome to my channel. Today I am building the Rembrandt house from the Sears and Roebuck catalog, I can't talk, which was published in 1924, the catalog I have. My mom kept it. My grandfather actually owned a Sears catalog house. I don't remember, I'm not sure which one it was, but they've interested me for a long time, and then recently my husband and I moved to an area that has quite a few of them. And sometimes we drive around, drink coffee, talk, and look for Sears homes. It's a lot of fun. So the Rembrandt is a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house with a basement. And I tried to imagine the family that might live here. I imagined a mom and dad and 2 kids, a boy in high school who's kind of athletic, and a younger sister. And I don't know, I kind of thought about them maybe a little later than 1924, like maybe their parents bought the house when they were first born. And so, I don't know, I was just kind of thinking of the time period that they might be alive in. I kind of wish that there was a little bit more vintage stuff. So there is a custom content piece at the end of the video where I added in a few things that I found from the Sims resource, and then also Around the Sims, which is an awesome site. If you haven't ever checked it out, check it out. She does custom content for both Sims 3 and Sims 4. And I've been using her stuff for years, never had a problem with any bad custom content from her. And so here, the roof, this house is supposed to be a Dutch revival, I believe is what it's called. And I was trying to get this roof. So basically there's this side piece on the roof, but every time I did it, and I tried for a long time, as you will see, what happened was that the inside room wall would show the pattern of the siding on the inside of the house, and I just couldn't seem to get rid of it. So eventually I got rid of those pieces. If anyone who's a builder out there knows how to do this, please put a comment in the box below so I can talk to you about it, because it drove me crazy. I built this house I think 3 times, and just could never get that roof right. I would get it right on one side and the other side wouldn't be right. So yeah, anyway, I really liked the Rembrandt. It's the very first one in the catalog that I found, and it had some interesting concepts about, moving out of the city, having real neighbors. I just thought it was an interesting piece of marketing, the way they advertised it. Let your kiddos, I think, or kiddies have a chance to grow up in the country, buy a house, don't spend your money on rent. You'll have real neighbors. You can get in touch with nature the way God intended it to be. And very interesting. So, but yeah, I have plans to do most of the houses in this build. I don't think I'll stick with the 1920s vibe for all of them, because they're still around, so they've gone through the years, of course. And as far as I can tell, I mean, they used probably some of the best materials they had for these kit homes. My mom and her brothers helped build the one kit home that they lived in. She helped sort out the wood by, I think it was numbers or letters, so all the A pieces went in one spot to help with the building. And so it's just a really interesting piece of my history, just my family's history, and then just America's history. I think it's really cool that they have these homes. I kind of wish that they still had them. This house, when it was originally built, cost $2,000, a little more than $2,000 and a half dollars. I can't even imagine. I mean, you can't even buy a car, except a used car, for that much now. But how cool it would be if you could. So I pulled out the magazine right in front of me, and the pieces in it were designed or called Honor Built. And yeah, the price actually was, I'm trying to find it here. I can't find it. Our price included the lumber, slate, siding, framing, flooring, porch, ceiling, finishing lumber, millwork, interior doors, mantle, kitchen cabinets, medicine case, windows from California or of California clear white pine, um, building paper. I don't know what they would use paper for. It says sash weights. I have no idea what that is. And then eaves and paint and white enamel for the living room finish, mahogany, varnish, filler. Yeah, I mean, they like included almost everything. And then they had options that you could buy too. I know I saw the price. Oh, it's $2,657. Or if you choose to not have the sunroom, it's $2,382. I can't even imagine. That would be so cool. And one thing that was interesting when I was doing this is that the upstairs bedroom has two beds, a separate bed for the husband and wife. All I can think of is like Dick Van Dyke or, I don't know, Bewitched. I think they shared the bedroom. Yeah, so there's like, I don't know, there's probably about 30 or 40 homes in this magazine. Some of them are cottages, so they don't have a bathroom in them or heating. I don't know if I'll do those, but they would be kind of cool maybe to do in the vacation world. Granite Falls. And then in the middle of this is I don't know, maybe I'll put a picture in of it in one of my future builds. But my grandfather actually started to draw plans. I'm not sure if he was looking to add on to the house that they already had or if this is the house that they wound up moving to when my mother was a little older, because he built that house completely from scratch. He didn't buy a Sears home the second time around. Not because he wasn't happy with it, but I think that it might not have been available where he was moving to. I think that you had to be someplace where you could have access to like a train or some kind of like water, like a boat, so that you could get the kit home. I don't know that they could drive it very far, or I don't know. Maybe that doesn't make sense. But it seems like the communities that I've seen are either homes that were built by companies, like they would buy company homes for people who were working for them, which kind of sucked. So like if your husband died for some reason, you'd have to leave. You'd lose not only your main source of income, but you would lose your house too. I have read a number of stories from this time period, so I've read about that. It's almost like being a pastor and you're, in a parsonage, and then the pastor dies and you have to leave. So, yeah, you're dealing with like loss upon loss. But so these houses, like there's whole communities where the company that, was supplying the house, they have like a whole street and they would buy the houses for the people who worked for them. Um, or you had to be someplace where there was, access to be able to get these houses in. I don't think they were very small. I think that the packaging was probably pretty big. And upstairs, I am working on putting the windows in, and the house plans actually had a window seat right in there. And I love window seats, but I decided later to change it out for the other kind of window seat that came with, I think it was Parenthood, because I thought it looked better. It's not exactly the same shape as that window, so I fixed that by putting some plants in. And then I think that the hardwood flooring was only in the bathroom and in the kitchen, and I did not do that. I put linoleum in the kitchen and tile in the bathroom, but I believe that it was maple tongue and groove for the kitchen and the bathrooms. I guess that was a really durable wood that would stand up to water damage. I don't really know why they picked it, but I thought that was kind of interesting. It doesn't really say what they used for the rest of the house flooring that I saw. It might have said something. but I did not read it, so I do not know. I did put tile in the bathroom on the walls too. I grew up in the Chicago area, and I actually lived in a few Chicago apartments, and just that old subway tile that they put on the floor, black and white, and then they put it on the walls about halfway up, which I've always thought was kind of cool. Um, it's still like you can tell it was put probably in the 1920s, and it still like looks pretty good. There's a few pieces that might be cracked, but it stood the test of time pretty well. And here I'm putting in a linen closet. I took the wall and the doors out because it was really hard to maneuver with the camera angle, and seeing what I was doing and placing the towels on the shelf and pretending they're sheets as well as towels. So I just thought that that was a little bit of fun to have the closets in there. They're just purely decorative. I don't think you can even open the door. You can't go in this. It's just basically one square, big, unless your sim wants to hide in the closet. And I did consider putting a second bathroom in and then chose not to because I wanted to stay as true to the building plans as I could. So this is a house with one bathroom. But if you really wanted to put one in, you could find the space to do it. If you chose to upload this from the gallery, it is on my gallery Sinsu 64 on the Sims 4 gallery. And then I made two closets, one for each of the kids. The parents, it did say closet, and I think it was supposed to be a walk-in, but I didn't want to make it too deep with the window seat there, so I just did the wardrobe instead, just the one tile deep wardrobe. And I thought the boy would be an athlete, so I put a lot of athletic stuff in his room. Gave him a big closet so he could put, he's too big for toys now, so he's hiding his toys in the closet, and he's got everything put away. And his sports equipment's going to be all over the place. That was my idea when I made this room. Because I just think, whenever I think of the 1920s, I think of like football. I don't know why. I'm sure it's been popular for years. It still is popular. But I don't know. I just think of like a lot of school spirit and a lot of school pride, and the football team. I figured he'd probably be a quarterback, so I gave him a lot of trophies. And for the little girl, I was thinking about making her like high school age, and then I thought, no, I'm going to keep her little. So I put some toys in her room. I don't have any brothers. I just have a sister. And we fought like cats and dogs when we were growing up. So I don't know. Maybe that's why I made a boy and a girl here. We're good friends now, though. We're good friends. We do some retreats together and stuff when we do artwork because we both enjoy that a lot. And so we get together and we do painting and all kinds of stuff. It's a lot of fun. And here I'm just putting some jerseys in his room, and like I said, the trophies that he's won, fictitiously won. I don't think that they did this. I don't think that they put them in glass, but maybe I'm wrong. In the 1924 era, was that a popular thing to do? I don't really know. It's hard to know how they would have decorated. I tried to find some pictures on the internet, but they're black and white or they're just plain drawings, and so I just have to do a lot of guesswork. I did size down the dollhouse. I think I sized it down twice, and she did play with it, and I didn't see any problems with her playing with it. Like, it wasn't real glitchy. And I tried to find a good bed for her. All of the rooms had double beds in them, or queen size beds. So I did not give her a child's bed. And yeah, I thought maybe she would have a desk in here as well so that she could do her homework. And when my grandparents had moved out of that house, the kit house, they moved into a much smaller house. I think his job moved, and so they wound up moving into a much smaller house. And my grandmother, my grandfather, and my mother actually had to share a bedroom for a while. That must have been weird. And then my uncles all shared one bedroom, so it was just a two-bedroom house. I know they missed their bigger Sears home. I know they did. My mom talks about it a lot. And they missed their dog. I guess they had a dog when they lived in the Sears home, a border collie, and they loved him. His name was Kit. And here I am just putting some toys on the shelf. It seems like kids didn't have as much clutter and as much toys back then, so I don't think they would have had it all over the floor like we do now. I can't, when my kids were little, we'd be stepping on Legos and all kinds of stuff, fun stuff on the floor. And then the other thing I noticed at the back of the Sears catalog is that they have lighting kits and hardware kits so that everything would match, like and the plumbing and everything was available through the Sears home kit. It was quite interesting. And they used a Hercules pipeless furnace, which it was, I guess that was the warm air, but I know that they had, oh, here it is, a Hercules hot water heating plant. So they use steam also to heat the house. And so that's what I put in this house is a steam system. I think steam is great because right now it's winter where I live and very dry in our house. I wake up every morning and I can't breathe because it's so dry. And once I get in the shower and turn the steam on, it's much better. But for those of us who live where the central heat's on all winter long, it's hard. But I remember growing up in the city where we had the radiator heat. And yes, you could like scald your hand if you touched it. But I remember it sending some moisture into the air so it wasn't like brutal to live during that time. And here I just changed out the seat and put plants in to make it fit a little bit better. And I liked the way that looked. I did like that. Get rid of that. I put that one seat at the end of the bed because a lot of times you'll see somebody have like that kind of seat at the end of the bed to put your slippers on or lay your bathrobe across. And now I'm putting a wreath. I don't really know what they used for decoration in the bedrooms at that time. I like to watch old movies. One of my favorites is Mr. Blanding's Dream House. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's got Cary Grant in it, and I don't really remember how it was decorated. I remember there was a bird cage. That's about it. Oh, and here I put in two different kinds of dressers. I was trying to get the woods to match, but my grandparents, my grandfather had the high boy, and then my grandmother had the normal size dresser. Can't think of the word, dresser, with the mirror above it. And so I put that in as kind of like a remembrance of their house. And she also had those braided rugs. She made some of them. They were really cool. I like those rugs. And just finding curtains for the house. Sometimes it's really hard to get the curtains to fit on the windows the right way, so it takes me a little bit of time. And I didn't really put anything on those nightstands. I figured there's already light in the room, so didn't bother putting them on. I did put in some decorations on put some there, and then later I add some more custom content. So when I uploaded this to the gallery, there's version 1 that has no custom content and version 2 that has the custom content that's at the end of this video that you will see. And I did it that way so that it wouldn't be hidden on the gallery and so that you don't have to worry about getting the custom content. If you don't want to put custom content in your game, you will know that there is one clean version and then one with custom content. And so this kitchen was a little weird. I don't remember, like the refrigerator's not in this part. It's in the back room. And I think I mentioned why, but just in case I didn't, because I've recorded this a couple times, they didn't want the person who was bringing the ice for the ice box to tramp through the house. So they put the refrigerator in the back hallway, and so you just came in through the back door, dropped the ice in the ice box, so the refrigerators or the ice box isn't in the kitchen, which was interesting. But what I also found interesting was that there was no pantry in this house. I thought pantries were a big thing, but maybe that was more Victorian times. And I'm not going to leave that hutch there. I just put it there because I was looking for the hutch for the dining room. I went back upstairs and placed the radiators. And then I don't know if I, yeah. In this house, they showed the radiator in the background of the drawing that I had, so I just thought it was appropriate. And then a lot of times there were built-ins in Chicago where I lived, and so I liked that idea, so I put in some built-in cupboards in the, like, I don't know, a buffet, I guess is what you call it. It's very handy to be able to set things on, and I like the ones that are right in front of the window too. It's kind of cool. So here I am working on all of that, trying to make the woods match, which I don't think I accomplished, but they don't look too horrible. And then I was just looking for some decorative items to put on the top of that, and I did a double hutch there so that it wouldn't be like in the wall, so that it would be almost flush with the countertop. I wanted it to be closer instead of like way far in. So there are two hutches on top of each other. I love those curtains, but you know, they're too far apart. So it just looked weird. I was trying to find something that went in the middle. I would love to have some of those curtains just solid colors, but I like the sheer curtains. I don't know what pack they came with, but I really like them. And I love those. I think they came with Parenthood, the half curtains for the kitchen. I tried to stay with like yellows and greens in this house. I think those were popular colors at the time this house would have been built. I think that because although Mr. Blanding's dream house is probably 1930s, not 1920s, maybe even 1940s, she talks about the colors that she wants. She's like trying to explain to the guy who's doing the painting. She's like, I want the best. Go down to your grocer, get the best color butter you can find, and then that's the color I want the kitchen, that yellow. And then, you know, pick out a red that's like the best apple. The painter's like, yeah, red, yellow. He didn't care. It was kind of funny. I highly recommend the movie if you haven't seen it. And here I'm just putting in couches and chairs and the grand piano. Again, they probably wouldn't have had a grand piano, and I kept all the furniture green. Now, my grandfather would call a couch a Davenport, and I was going to try and find out why he called it that. Like if there's a difference between a couch and a Davenport. I did not find out yet, but maybe in another build I'll have that information. But he did have this library table, which is what I put behind the couch. In reality, in Sims 4, we don't have library tables. It is just a table with a desk lamp on it and some books and a chair. But I loved my grandfather's library table. It was huge. It's probably almost twice as wide as a desk, but they had like one drawer in the middle, and it was just gigantic. I think my sister got it when my grandfather passed away. But it's just a really cool piece of furniture. And if I had room for it in my home, and if she ever wanted to get rid of it, I would want it. And here I was just putting a mirror up on the wall too far away, so I pushed it back again and put a duck on there. A duck on the mantelpiece. Maybe the father likes to hunt. I doubt it. I don't know how many hunters there were. Sorry, that was a little piece of one of the references I was going off of. I have the actual catalog, but it's because it's so old, it's extremely fragile, and so I was looking on the internet as well. I don't want to touch this thing too much. It will fall apart. But I was really glad to get my hands on it. And here I'm just putting a place to have tea in the sunroom and a place for gardening. That was one of the things that they really emphasized in the catalog when they were doing the advertising, is that, you know, get back to nature. They even had a picture of a woman and a man sitting in their garden. One was, actually, they weren't sitting. The man was working in the garden. The woman was watering it. So I thought, take advantage of that picture and just put a lot of opportunities for the garden skill in this house. And that was another little room that I used for pictures from the gallery. Just a lot of nature pictures. I figured there'd probably be somebody who like maybe wants to paint, or a grandfather, grandmother who painted. And the paintings have been passed down from generation to generation. And then there was that Seurat painting. I think it's Seurat from Afternoon in the Park or something like that, which went in the dining room. I would love to know how people get these like custom content pictures that you can actually like paint or do in The Sims, because I like them better than a lot of the paintings that we actually do have. But just thankful for people who put them up on the gallery. Very thankful. And now I'm just going to work on the landscaping. And one of the ways I like to do the landscaping is by painting it so that it looks like it's raised. I know we can't raise it in The Sims, but around the edges I'll put like a lighter color so it looks like it's coming up at you. And that's just getting ready for garden plots. I put them on the side of the house. I was going to put the hose on the wall, but I can't remember if I did. So I don't know. A hose on the wall would be perfect there. And then, like I said, I'm just using this green to make it look like the dirt is coming up a little bit from the ground. And I put a lot of flowers in here. My grandmother's favorite flowers were gladiolas, and I don't think we have those in the game, but I used some flowers that are shaped like them, long stocky flowers. And I stuck with purples and blues for this house build, maybe a few pinks, because I thought it went better with the gray. And I did move this tree. I moved one of the trees up so it would have a higher length to it. So yeah, I just moved the tree up with the move objects on sheet and the 9 key. If you look at it really close, I'm sure it won't look right, but from, a little bit far away, it's pretty good. It looks fine. And just putting in the flowers, just having fun, putting in flowers. Landscaping's not my favorite thing to do. I actually like building much better, but I do like it when a building's like nicely landscaped. And I noticed that for me, since we can't build our own world or have, control over the public parts of the map, if the building has a lot of trees around it, it seems to fit better on the map for me for visually. If it doesn't fit on the map, it kind of makes me not like the house. I don't like the way the map looks from the aerial, I don't know what you call it, the world map. And here I'm just putting in the basement, and I'm figuring out how to put in a fake water heating system. So I put in a pipe and some other things to make it look like it's there. I don't know what I was doing here. Oh, I was trying to get screenshots. I don't know. There's my family. I don't know how I skipped the basement build. I must have deleted it accidentally. And these are a little crazy. Yeah. Sorry about that. That's pretty bad. Very strange. Okay, that was the end of that, and now custom content will be added.